Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a reaction to a new trailer for an upcoming Peter Pan movie. Another one being made. Jesus, I don't know how many Peter Pan movies there is now. We had the animated one all those years ago, and then we had, which was my favourite, Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. And then we've had, I think there was one come out in 2003, and then there's been other ones that come out. So with another one coming out now, hopefully we're getting something new with this story. It always seems to be the same story over and over. But let's see, this one is called Peter Pan and Wendy, so maybe it's like going to be like a new type of story or something. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Have we got anything different on the Peter Pan lore?
How did you come to Neverland?
Lost boys.
Every last one of us.
But you're not all boys.
So?
What is this place?
Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
There! Look!
What is it that you're afraid of, my love?
Where is Peter Pan?
Alright, first of all, it's the same fucking story again. Oh, dear Jesus. Yeah, it looks interesting, but it's been done. You know, it's literally the same bloody blueprint over and over again. Peter comes and meets Wendy and, Michael and John, and teaches them how to fly, brings them to Neverland, and Tinkerbell gets jealous of Wendy, and Peter banishes Tinkerbell, and then the kids get captured, and Peter saves them, defeats Hook, and then they all go back home again, happy ever after. It's the same bloody thing over and over. Where is originality? It's the same story. That's why I say Hook's my favourite movie, because it did something different. You got a grown up Peter. He's forgotten all about Neverland, and he's forgotten about being Peter Pan. And Hook, kidnaps his children. He ends up being transported back to Neverland. He has to remember who he was. He has to train. He has to learn everything that he's forgotten to fight Hook and save his children. It's the same goddamn story. Alright, let me go through this. Second of all, I have no problem with the casting. I think I recognize the girl playing Wendy. I think she was in the movie Black Widow. Did she play a younger Natasha Romanoff? So it looks like her. But and I have no problem with the casting of Peter and Tinkerbell. I know people probably say, oh, why why can not cast a white person play Tinkerbell or something? I have no problem with that. But what I do have an issue with is, even Wendy called it out there, is with the freaking Lost Boys. She's saying you're not all boys. She's saying, and the girl's saying, so it's in the freaking name, Lost Boys. It's not the name of the bloody gang. It's not a group, name. They're called Lost Boys because they are lost boys. They were boys who were abandoned or went missing, never found, and they ended up in Neverland and became the Lost Boys. That's the whole bloody point. I know they want to, change it up and add thing, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You could have done something different. You didn't have to, have thing. But I don't know. Maybe maybe something stupid to nitpick at. I just think, I don't know. Let me say, but I thought it was gonna be something different here. But as soon as he said, how did you get her, and she's, you know, running around shooting, looking for things. It's the same goddamn movie. Yeah, that is her, isn't it? Yeah, she played a young Natasha in Black Widow.
Little boys.
So?
So it means you can't be fucking lost boys. Oh. I like the costume.
You expecting someone else?
I don't have a problem with, cast. I know some people might look and say, it's the same arguments you always see whenever, like, the change, like, the actor's race, or the change, have a cast a person of color to play a role that was originally, a white person. I don't have a problem with that. I know some people say, oh, well, why does it's like I said with the Little Mermaid trailer. I don't have a problem with not being a white woman being cast to play Ariel. It's just whoever's the right role for the part. I'm sure there were multiple people went in to audition for the role of Tinkerbell, and they just went with the person they wanted to. They went with the right person who was best for the role. So I don't have a problem with that. I just wish it was a different story. I wish it was something different. Like I said, I think there was, apart from Hook, the one I can remember was, I think it came out in 2003, 2004, was it? It had, was it Jason Isaacs, or that played Hook? I can't remember. But it was a good one. When did it come out? Let me just double check here, because I feel like there's so many Peter Pan movies. What have I got now? Right. The first one was a musical, and then you had the animated one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the 5th one now. And the one I'm thinking of was 2003, is it? Yeah, 2003. Yeah, it had Jason Isaacs was Captain Hook, and Jeremy Sumpter was Peter Pan. Rachel Hurd-Wood was Wendy. That was good. So I just don't know. It just feels like they're just they've run out of any new ideas, and it's the same old blueprint over and over. Like I said, the movie Hook was great because it was something new. It was a different direction. You had an older Peter. He had kids now, and he had to go to Neverland and remember everything they'd forgotten in order to save them. Why couldn't they just done something different? Tiger Lily. Who's that? Is that Jude Law? Jude Law playing Hook? Alright. I don't know, let's just see what happens. When's it come out? April 28th. I just think, maybe it's just me. I mean, let me know yourself what you think. I would like to see something different. They could have done something different. Maybe, off the top of my head, you have likes of Captain Hook's son in the Descendants movies, Harry Hook. They could have done something there. Where you have Captain Hook's son has now come of age, and he's taken command of the Jolly Roger, and he wants to avenge his father's death and battle Peter Pan. You could have done something else there. You could have done wasn't there an animated sequel to Peter Pan? It was Return to Neverland or something. It was Wendy's daughter. You could have done a live action version of that. You could have had, telling that story of, Wendy's daughter has heard all the stories about Peter Pan, and she doesn't believe it, and then he eventually shows up and all that there. They could have done something different instead of doing the rethink, but I don't know, wait and see. For me, first impressions on this trailer, it doesn't look interesting. It just looks like the same, the same story, just new cast members, but maybe a different trailer. Maybe this is all going to happen at the start, and then we're going to have a new story throughout the rest of the film. Maybe a new trailer would show something different that we haven't seen before. I don't know, but wait and see. But our impressions, it just looks the same. Let me know yourself. Anyway, drop a like on the video and drop a comment below what you thought of this trailer and what your thoughts are on another Peter Pan movie, and what are your thoughts on the casting, and I don't know, do you think this is going to be like the start of a new type of like, I don't know, trilogy or something? Would this be like the start of something where they'll branch out into sequels, or I mean, fuck, just thinking outside the box here, you could have done a crossover movie, Peter Pan and the Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, they're both both properties under Disney. Just thinking outside the box, you could have done something like that. Peter Pan and the Pirates of the Caribbean. But I don't know. Anyway, let me know yourself, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be very much appreciated, and as always, I will drop a link for the original video in the description so you can check it out for yourself. Anyway, take care. I'll see you again. I am all out of fairy dust and happy thoughts when it comes to this franchise. I think it's just beating a dead horse. Anyway, take care. See you again.